Okay, VOD review for 2813. First of all, nicely done at Ventura this week or this past 2 week, whenever the hell this was. Good job. Honestly, there was a very good chance that you could have done a massive upset over the entire event. Um, I think just the 58-18 topples were annoying, and I think the cards that you got were annoying. I'll go a little bit into the cards because I think there was just so much inconsistency. I fully blame these refs. So let's talk about what you could have done better. I think I had a few points in my last review for Caleb about what you need to do in order to kind of find your confidence and know what you need to be looking at. I believe we were talking about looking 10 seconds ahead and kind of knowing what it is that you need to be achieving and knowing where every ball is on the field at any given time. And then for the driver, I think we're talking a little bit more about your approach and what needs to happen in order for you to path better, right? How to get smoother driving. So the two things I'm going to look for at the very beginning is just how did you, as a coach, uh, how did you plan, right? And how did you respond? Um, I don't think this is showing up too great, but that's okay. So plan and response, and then I'm gonna do this in yellow, so maybe it shows up better too. That's way better. For the driver, how did you navigate? Right? Did you think through where you wanted to be at any given time? Um, so really, this is about navigation and planning. Um, and driver and drive coach, were you on the same page about what the plan was? And did you know where you wanted to be being? Because if Caleb is doing a really good job drive coaching, he will be able to call out a position that you need to go to, and the driver will just know, like, okay, driver goes here, great. My drive coach is doing this and is trusting me to just get the job done and is looking out for me. And as a driver, you need to be following through. You need to be getting there as fast as possible. And ideally, you're seeing the same situations on the field that benefit your robot. So this could be things like ball acquisition. These could be things like approaches or immediate threats. While Caleb is trying to get the greater sense of what's happening here. So let's see how that planning kind of went on. So 2813 in this match, starting up front, has a turnaround auto. Doesn't look like it's quite working for you guys. I don't know why you started there and didn't do a two ball, other than you don't think your shooter's going to work, but that's fine. All right. So you got the ball, intake being deployed. All right, nice. Yeah. So you needed to recover out of that. And you knew to go for that ball immediately. Good job. And now things are getting into a little bit of a weird situation where you can't see everything, but you're going for the ball that's closest. That's fair. Um, Eventually, though, yeah, good job. Yeah, you want to give up on that ball that's there if you don't think you're able to hit it. You have three. I hope you get rid of it. Refs aren't looking. Refs blind. Cool. Getting one shot up there is fine. Yeah. And then immediately going to the next thing. Good. Like the responsiveness is really on point here. And it seems like you are doing a good job of just following through, taking a strange angle there. I want to see that. So you get the ball, you go to the tarmac, and okay, it doesn't seem like you rushed it. It just seems like the shooter wasn't working. I know you said that you found out that you were losing power, so getting closer at that point would be good. You're halfway through the match, so you should know that you can't take tarmac shots. Like going forward, you should know that you can't take tarmac shots. You have to get in a little further or a little closer. Tarmac shot again. Yeah, you still don't know, right? But but you've tried this twice. This third time, you should know. Okay, this isn't working, and you should know why it's not working, right? This would be something ideally you corrected the first go around. Okay, cool. Yeah, good correction. Really good call here. And 40-second mark. I think this was also before you had discovered that you were able to climb faster. So you give yourself a lot of leeway here. You could have easily put in another cycle by this point. Um, maybe two if you were grabbing the stuff that was close. Like these are really good options for a last second. Like oh we can score that. It's just there, right? It's on the way, and by 15 seconds you're up already. I'm pretty sure I messaged Caleb about this, saying that his climb was faster, like, or your guys' climb was faster than he had originally anticipated for and budgeted for. Um, but yeah, like, look how much time you've got just while you're hanging there. You could have done things, right? And and the score is very close here, right? It's 36 to 38. I don't think it matters here, but I want to see what the difference is. Right, so 52 to 68. So that's a big lead. If we take out the 4 points from penalties, so 52 to 64, it's a 12-point lead. So the traversal rung is what makes a difference here. If this was a high climb, I think you lose before fouls, right? So 64 to 52, instead of getting 15. No, actually, if you get 10 instead of 15, you only drop by 5. Um, so ultimately, like getting the double traversal is good here. It definitely would have been worse if you didn't get that 15-point bonus, um, or like had fallen or something. So making sure that you had the ample amount of time to do the climb is good. When you get to the point where you need to start pushing your cycles more, this is where you want to look at. Okay, we need to be considering. Can we get an extra cycle in, right? I want to look at the setup for that cycle or that potential cycle that you could have done here, right? So at this point, it's a minute in the match, and you've messed up that first shot. Well, you get one in the low, but that's still not what you wanted. That's still a mess up. Grabbing the ball over in the back corner is good because right now, Caleb, I don't think you can see too many options other than maybe those two balls and how far apart they are, or these two balls and how far apart these are. In my humble opinion, I think the path while your teammate is trying to scramble is in an Elam's match running to these over here to A, grab a ball, and B, maybe shut down someone who needs to climb early. Um, and then after you get those, try to score on the close side so you don't mess it up. And then see what gathers up for red in this area, right? In terms of like what would have been the optimal play, I think this is what you do. And so let's watch till about the 45-second mark of how this shakes up. So you get those two in, and you just start going for the climb. So 45-second mark. This path from here to here, what this would have done is this would have made it hard for 359 to get in. You shouldn't have had to worry about either of these, right? Just how wide you're doing it. So the stopping the climb, questionable. But these two balls are here. That's a cycle, right? Assume it takes about 5 seconds. Assume this takes about 5 seconds. That puts you at about, so from 51 to here, that's 45. To here, that's about 40. And then if you trust yourself enough, this is a straight shot, right? So let's say, ideal situation that takes 3 seconds to do. We go from 40 to 37. Line up the shot, take the shot, make it or not, and say it puts you at 35, something like that. You can just make a beeline for it right here, right? This is the situation at its absolute optimal. The call that you made was not necessarily like, oh, I don't trust this to work. It was, I need to be safe, and this team is counting on me to show that we can get the double traversal. So this is still a good call, right? This is probably the best call that you could have made in the moment. What I'm showing you is the full field. If you were trying to min max your points in these final minutes or in this like last 45 seconds, what would you have done here? And hopefully you kind of see how that sets itself up, right? Especially because looking at a team like 359 here, I'm just gonna circle them real quick, right? 359, I want you to watch at when they bail out because they haven't started climbing yet. It's 30 seconds. Even though they seem like they're climbing, they're trying to figure out where the balls are. They want to be pushing the envelope because they see that everyone else is climbing. And look at who's on the field right now. It's only blue for the most part. Like there's a red guy over here who I guess is dead or doesn't know how to climb. But 359, a team that's really trying to push the envelope, is still playing the game. 15 seconds in, and I don't know what point they're climbing to. Right? They might not think that they have to climb. Right? Especially when they're this low to the ranking point. If they want to cut their losses, they should just leave. Right? And so they do that because they want to make sure that they can get the other ranking point instead. So about 10 seconds they start their climb. I believe that's at least the ranking point in their climb. But look at what point it takes them to abandon it, right? They're playing at 20 seconds, they get their cycle in, they're thinking about doing another because they know they have time. And then as soon as they get to the 15-second mark, their drivers are saying, or their drive coach is just saying, "Not come back, get out of there," right? So this is where knowing your robot's limits is really good, and building up good enough practice. Like this is the kind of play that I would hope that you can get to at Monterey. Um, I really think that you can do it, right? Once you know where your robot can be pushed. So overall, good match. I think you already are starting to figure out where you want to be a little bit faster and the calls that you want to make. So great job. Let's see if that keeps up in 45. This time you're on red again in the back. Let's see this. Okay. So two ball auto. 1, 2. And the human player kind of knocks him off course, and you're too far away. So programmers gonna need to have a long conversation in the pit about that one. All right, perfect. Pop quiz. Where's this robot gonna go? Is it A to the two balls right here that are against the wall? B to the ball that's more out in the open? Or C to the one out here? Well, what is it you're trying to do, right? Are you trying to fight for the ball against the wall there? Is your wall intake doing well? Um, or do you think that you can grab these two in one fell swoop and then back up, right? I think you probably are just going to grab the two that are next to you, um, just so that you don't have to worry about losing them. Oh, that one bounced back in because the guy threw it. Cool. Well, you did kind of option B. That's fine. Great. 1, 2. Nice. All right. Balls are on the other side of the field. I don't know if you're getting them or not. All right. So what's happening here? 1, 2. All right. So you watch the rebound, and it looks like you're waiting for the rebound, but that takes like 7 seconds to settle. You could very easily, as soon as these shots miss, beeline for here, right? Just grab that ball on the way in. As soon as you see that other ball rolling, where are you guys? Yeah, you're literally right here, right? You should have a perfect line of sight. Like the driver should see what the options are. This isn't even like Caleb. You need to make this call, right? If Caleb says go grab balls, these are the ones that you're seeing, right? With very minimal effort, right? So you wait for the settle, and you do eventually get there anyways, right? Wait, you only grab one. Oh, yeah, you grab two. Okay, cool. That's fine. But aren't there still balls there? Yeah, there still are, right? All right, ball shoot. You come crashing in. Oh, operator, don't take that intake up. It's a waste of time, right? Like you know that you're gonna get the ball. There's no one near you who's gonna come slamming into you. I know generally you probably want to keep your intake up when you're driving so you don't lose it, but like it's open here, right? The only person nearby is the dead robot who's on your side. Yeah. So like that's a waste of time. You should just be communicating there. Good shots overall. Getting the one next to you. And there's one further down. Yeah, grab that. Yeah, nice. Yeah, if you want to be a Chad, you can just block that guy in and score. Nice. Excellent job. There's two right next to you. Your intake, I think, is a little broken from all the smacking around. And from here, we can see that like these two might be options. But I'm thinking from, I'm going to do this in yellow. I'm thinking from all the way back here, the hub is right in your way. And so I'm going to consider that anything that's like right in this area is probably outside your line of sight, right? This is why a robot camera is good this year. I'm going to assume that anything in yellow is not something worth picking up for you because it's just not something you're going to be able to see right there, right? So we can consider your options as being just whatever's in your sight. And so I think moving back here, good idea. Going for the one that's not a struggle to fight for, good idea. Nice shots. All right. Caleb, at some point you need to check down here. This is the one that I see the most is nobody can see the ones that are on their own side of the field. Like nobody can see what's against the alliance wall. I think if this is your where's your human player? I think if this is your kid right here in the yellow circle, they gotta tell you like, yeah, Caleb, you got a ball right here. Right? They can move around. People are not using their human players enough for information. Getting closer this time. Good. Okay. Don't know what happened. And then you're doing the 40-second climb again, right? Like, you know you've got time. I don't know why you're going for the climb so early here, especially when you're behind and you need to be cycling and your partners can't, right? Admittedly, I don't know what these two teams can do. I see Riviera might have the traversal, but yeah, you're probably going to win off of this climb. But if you were assuming that the climbs were even and it was just down to cargo, like you would need to continue scoring, especially because you've been up there for, let's see, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. This as long as you stick this and hold for the remaining 5 seconds, you got 15 seconds to play with, right? Like you got to push this. Um, like looking at the score, if you and the other team matched, you'd lose by a point here, right? And getting getting 2 points is not worth throwing the entire game for. Um, but I think you all have faith in yourselves to score a ball within 15 seconds, right? That should be something you can do, especially when you know that the ball is right here in this top corner, or the ball's right here, or the ball's right here. Like there are options for you, and I've seen you run a ball in 10 seconds. You should know that you're able to do this, right? Um, so really don't be afraid to push yourself, right? Push it to the limit because that's how you win finals, right? Now it's a different conversation if you're trying to say, "Oh, I'm playing for scouts and I want to make sure that they know I do the traversal every match." That's fine, right? Red Alliance wins. Let's look at the margins here, 32 to 42, right? So they get 10 to 21. So yeah, look at this. Look at this score right here. So you get 21 hanger points with the 15 and the 6, right? And they get the 10. So if you miss these 15 points, um, yeah, you go from 42 down to, I don't know. Let's take away 5, right? Let's take away 5 to say you make it to the high bar. Oh well, right? Um, that's 37 to 32. If you make it to the mid bar, right? Um, you go down, what is it, 9 points? So 32 to 42. So you win by 33 to 32. And if you know that the opponents just can't climb or they haven't done it, um, you have more play, right? This is just where your scouts, like this is something where your scouts would have come in handy, because you could say, I know that they're not going to do more than 2 climbs, right? It's a hard thing to say with confidence, but as the data goes on and you know what this lineup looks like, and you're like, yep, this is broken, this doesn't work. It's like all we need is a high climb, but we're going to give ourselves the minimum amount of time to get the max. Again, this is coming from a perspective of how do you push yourself further from this point, right? I think the match that you played was good. I think there are points where you could have been slightly more efficient, but overall, this is still a good match, right? You're getting the points in um, where they matter, and you're winning matches off of this climb. So making sure that your win condition is, hey, we need to get the max climb. All right, fine, sure, give yourself the time to do that, but also recognize that you have more time than you think. Quals 59. You are on blue this time with 50 26 and 44 14. I think are these all winning matches that you sent me? All right, auto's working now. Hopefully, do you make the shots in? All right. That conversation with the programming team was clearly not strict enough. All right, two balls right next to you. Grab them. Where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing? You want a 5 second cycle? You got it right there. What are you doing? And you should be able to see this, right? You're right in line with it. I don't know if you're leaving that for 5026 or something, but honestly, they're the swerve bots. They've got the maneuverability. Let them, like, the point is they will bring the cycle times down because they are swerved, no matter where they go. If you're supposed to be a scoring robot, like, go for that, right? And it seems to me like you're clearly not defensive if you're trying to score. Oh, don't shoot there. Yeah. All right. At least you're right next to all the balls. Go grab them. Yeah, being in a blind spot is confusing and scary. I don't blame you. But what you could be doing is, Caleb, you got to be active here, right? I don't know where you are. I think you're right there. You see, where is it? JJ, the high tide captain? You got to be like pretty much right behind him. As soon as your robot needs to maybe go to this area and you need to confirm information, I need to see you move, right? I need you to hustle. Get into this position, change your own sight line so you can see this, and then just yell over to your driver, hey, I need you to move, right? You got it, right? You're good. Just drive forward in intake, and then run back to the hub. Right? This is where the inter drive team trust and communication is really going to come in, right? I mean, high tide's right here, so JJ doesn't need to move, but I'm going to go back like, let's go back a few seconds, right? I want you to watch this side of the field and look at the dude in the hat pointing and yelling. All right, let's go to 157 mark. Right? He's confirming information immediately with his human player. He's telling his kid where to go. And then they're staying in the same area, and he's still confirming with the human player. Every time he needs to check something and he needs to know where things are, he's talking to the human player about it. Right? And now he's telling his drivers. He's pointing to where you need to go. I'm not even watching you right now. I'm watching him just to highlight like this is what needs to be happening, right? He's pointing where people need to go. I want to see if high tide goes into like the opposite side of the field. So we can see if high tide moves, right? Okay. He's not really doing what I had hoped because he is staying on that side of the field. But ultimately, like he's moving around to confirm, right? And I wasn't really looking at this side. But this is where you absolutely have the freedom to run, right? The only thing that you can't do is touch controls and communicate with your like technician. Other than that, you should be fine, right? So be don't be afraid to move. I'm gonna watch your team now. It's not enough about high tide. I'm just using them as a sort of example. I don't think it worked out too well, but you can kind of visualize like this is what communication looks like at the end of the day. Yeah. Also, try not to wedge yourself under those. Right. And you also kind of see how, not to bring it back to high tide, JJ's like looking around. He's talking to his human player. Human player is squatting to see where the balls are. Right. If you look down, I think technically like the spot next to you is driver station still. If you look down and try to check like is there a ball right here, that could be huge, right? You would have known that there's something there for you to grab, and high tide eventually gets it. But I think honestly it might not be a terrible idea where you know that nobody's around and you think that there's a ball near you that you just drive with the intake down. I think that could be something you do. You kind of kick that around, grab it. Okay. I like that you gave up on the ball that you were originally thinking about to get the one that was close to you. I think it was a good chase, and you are kind of deprived of things nearby. I don't know what's going on though. Like this intake is struggling. All right, you get one. Grab the one next to you. Okay, you grab the ball near you, I think. That one gets stopped for you, which is cool. Grabbing the ball. Okay. So ultimately, you're starting to step things back up a little bit more. I think the big problem here is that high tide is taking all the balls before you can get them. But when there's nothing on the field, you have no idea what to do, right? You are not being proactive enough to check what your next goal is. Oh my god, we've seen a climb start at 30 seconds. Nice. The self trust. You love to see it. Sub 40-second climb. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 9. All right. Yeah, you gave yourself 20 seconds. That's fine. I like that you trusted yourselves to take enough time there, right? So what are some things that you could have been doing, right? Let's look at this situation. So you have the ball starvation problem where there's just nothing available for you. How do you make a proactive use of your time for scouts? Especially when you don't think that you need to defend against this alliance. Like all three robots are kind of killing it. I kind of want to watch what Red does and just see where they're at as an alliance. See if there's anything you could have done that would have been like slightly more helpful. So I'm gonna watch the full field here instead of you. All right, looking at it, the 85-33 team, I am assuming, are rookies. They don't have anything but a drivetrain and a climber, so they're not really something that's gonna get in your way. 691 looks to have some struggles with aligning, but they get the ball. Um, yeah, the red robots are just kind of getting around there. So I do see happening are some of the balls are running into this corner area right here. I'm not sure if 5026 is grabbing them or 4414 has to go grab them. Um, or if it's happening in sync with like you are not in a great place to grab them. 5026 is definitely struggling a bit. It looks like they're gonna go grab it. I'm curious 5026's struggle here. I don't know how much of it is they're trying to fight for a ball versus like their intake is just bad. Okay, that was not a good call by them. Um, but like something you could have done here that might have been helpful, especially in terms of like what can our alliance partner do, is if you know, and you only find this information by running back over there, if you know that the balls are way back there, you could be the team that fights for getting a ball, right? Instead of making 5026 do it. Although I guess they are the more maneuverable robot here, so it really doesn't matter, right? It's just finding the options for yourself. It's hard with all the ball starvation, but ultimately this ball never gets checked. I think there's one against that side too. Uh, yeah, 4414 has to go get it. Um, so the weakness here is not knowing how to use your time best and kind of waiting around when there's no ball on the field. Um, So if there's no options, you don't know what to do, right? Or you don't know how to make options for yourself. And here it's hard because these rookie teams slash these not great teams are not giving you like a clear defensible target, right? And if you bully the rookie, you're just gonna look like an ass, right? You're not gonna be cool. Um, but I think something that might give you a little more insight is right now I don't think you're considering what you can't see as options. So we talked about this in the last match um, where you know right now in that last match we kind of considered everything you can't see behind the hub that's no longer an option. On Einstein, this is gonna be what kills teams, right? At champs in general, this is gonna be what kills teams. Is as soon as they start thinking I can't do anything about what I can't see, they're boomed. just the game is over them, right? And a few options do open themselves to you, if you're able to see them. But like that's not stopping 50-26. 50-26 is going in there. They're going deep. They're trying to find the ball. 44-14 is working on communicating. Here, I don't know how stationary you're being. I can watch this for I'll watch this for the next few seconds, right? Kind of looks like you're standing over your driver's shoulder and micromanaging them and seeing, okay, well, what can I do here, right? Um, but I don't see you moving at all, right? Your feet are kind of planted. 50-26 could be doing the same thing. But if you ever seen a match with like Mike Corsetto for Citrus Circuits, he's running up and down the field all the time. Yeah, here you go, right? Like right here. JJ's walking up to you. He's telling you what to do. And he's trying to see things in the middle. Like he probably just yelled something to you, right? About like, hey, do this. He's running over to like spot something and check. Like that movement is huge. And you can afford to do that more. So you've cleared a little bit of, I'm going to do this in yellow. In Quals, I think you have cleared the planning stage, right? So I'm going to give you a check mark for that. So as a drive coach, you have a plan and you're able to think ahead, right? Because you know, like, okay, I'm looking for the next option and like this is where I'm going to go, but your options are limited, right? So in terms of like the plan scope, you were thinking about where's the next ball, where's the next ball, where's the next ball, and then in some ways you need to check for the ball, right? And in some ways you need to know what happens if no ball. What's the next plan or the plan B, right? Plan B, there's no ball. What do I need to be doing? Do I need to assist my teammate? Do I need to be obnoxious and chuck these red balls like way out of the way? Right? What would happen if you had taken, let's say, if you had taken a red ball and you'd spit it over this way? I just made it really annoying. Like there's all these free options over there. What happens if you just move those away just to be a jerk? Like that's better because at least you're forcing them into the same position that you're in where they can't find a ball. That's absolutely something you could have done there. Your drivers, I think understanding the path has improved significantly here. The next part that would be ideal is the communication, right? And we're seeing this struggle a little bit with the driver to operator, where the driver is going to, position A, position B, and intake comes up, right? The operator thinks, oh, this is best practice. I don't want this to get hit. I don't want to cause problems or break the robot. And then the driver and operator start to operate off of independent wavelengths, right? The driver's here, the operator's here, and then the driver's here, and then the operator's here. And you want to be just constantly on one continuous wavelength of operation. So in terms of like the first barrier of getting good, I think you've overcome that, right? Both of you. So really great job. Quarterfinal 3. So for quarterfinal 3, you're starting to figure out how you want to work with a climb robot and the other scoring robot here with you as the captain. Um, Against the number 2, I think these robots are a little slow to kind of get shooting and get started. Um, and these are definitely people that you can just hit, right? I think what I would like to see is when you're both fighting for balls, you rough them up a little bit, right? Try to hit them as you are going for a shot, right? If you're trying to get this ball, I want to see you go out of your way to clip them and shoulder check them. Turn off. Auto doesn't quite work. That's okay. Just to get bad bounce out. All right. Right here, your plan should be going right for 54-19 and the ball's next to him. Or you can run away. That's fine too. There are 2 balls next to you. Sure. Okay. All right. I'm glad that you didn't wait to see where the balls went. That's a huge improvement. You just shot and then you kept going as soon as they left your bot. And now you got options right next to you. Yeah, just keep the flow going here. Okay. Shooter gets stuck. 58-18, keeping people off of you is good, but then you're kind of like still just trying to get out of dodge and you're panicking more than anything. Um, I think if you don't give up on that, you would have grabbed it by the time 8 got to you. And yeah, you are in a puddle of balls and you're not sure what to do. So this seems like it could be nerves, right? This is what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Um, and then you kind of start to solidify it, right? But a minute of the match is nearly gone by this point. By the time you get your next cycle in, it's been like 45 seconds. Getting pushed out by 54-19. I think you said your shooter was having issues, which is understandable, right? But at this point, just try to get the points you can. You're not down by that much. Your win condition here, when you have Berkelium, is definitely the double climb, right? You're going against Berkelium, you have Riviera, right? I want to see how much time is wasted here. Like, let's see when you get your next cycle in. You get one ball. All right, 104. So you got one ball in at 104, despite there being the ball right here for you to grab. And I don't know if your human player is across the field or not, but there's like a easy just run, grab it, score it cycle here. And I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, you stop like 5 feet short of it, right? There's even this ball here, right? These are all options. One, okay. A minute, and you're looking for the next ball. And here it looks like you kind of forgot where to go, right? So what this looks like to me is you assume that there was something in this area and you didn't actually know. Because up to here it looks pretty clear of balls, right? So let's go over what your options were at the 1 minute mark. Actually, let's go to like when that ball leaves your robot. Shoot. Okay. Oh, you do have a ball in your robot. Do you have a ball in your robot? I can't tell anymore. It doesn't look like it ejects. It looks like you have one, but it doesn't look like it ejects. Yeah, you totally have another one, right? You have another one, it just doesn't go through. So you could have ran and made sure. I don't know if you have a way of checking that, but you're holding another one here. Um, so let's look at the field at this point, right? So it's a minute left in the match. If you went here, it's a little dangerous now because there's two robots that could try and force you out and do that touchpad foul. Not great. Not great. You can go back and try and grab this one here. You can maybe go for this one over in this corner. There's a ball right here, right? I think your teammate has a ball below that red one. I think 1138 has two. I don't know where the rest are on the field. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. There's definitely 6 in here. 7, 8. I'm assuming 9, maybe 10, 11 in this, right? So the options are very limited based off of who's holding what. But at this moment in time, the other big contextual clue is okay, well, maybe you can see that one. 1, 2, 3 options. I see 3 options readily available for red. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know where the rest are, right? I think maybe like 10, 11, generally. Um, Overall, you can start thinking with your team at like an alliance level. Okay, this is kind of the no-go zone, right? If I'm playing a scoring robot here, or if I have a scoring robot, like this is the next place that they want to go. I want to start making this hell. Like I want to make this a problematic to get to. And for that reason, honestly, I would go for the ball right here and then try to make the shot like right around this area, right? You might get hit in the process. One of two things could happen. You get hit while you're shooting, and that's the shoulder check process. Um, or you're able to shoot and then immediately start defending if someone tries to get through here, and you could just waste their time a little bit more, right? Think about all the little moments where you're wasting time and how much that adds up, and think about how you could contribute that to the chaos while things kind of settle out on the field. I think that would have been maybe the ball that you go for. I think it's visible too. And then you go to this area, not like quite sure what you want there. And it's a little bit of a mess. And then you're trying to get a third ball there, and I think at this point you realize that you have to, right? And then you're blocking. Oh yeah, they do have a second one. And then you park in front of your teammate, right? Give yourself the space to work, even if it's with a teammate. Don't assume that your teammate's not going to push you, right? Right now, this area's got 3 robots. I don't want to be here. I want to be over here. Yeah, right at this moment, I don't. There's 4 robots up there. I don't want to be in that area. Why? Yeah, even though it's closest, I don't want to be there. I want to mitigate the risk. It'll take an extra second of your time. Extra second of your time, and you want to miss those 2 shots. You guys pass each other like ships in the night. And now 1138 is holding you back, right? So that's the kind of thing I was telling you about. 1138 gets in the way and just checks you on the way, and it's the 20-second mark, and now you're starting to sweat. Like, oh, am I going to get that climb that I knew I could get in 15 seconds? I don't know anymore, right? Because people are getting in your way. I want to see when you start. Like, what happens at 30? 30 seconds, you're still trying to get a cycle, and you're like, okay, no, I have to go back. That's a good idea. You bump into one thing, gives them enough time, bump into 2 thing, gets stalled out, bump into 3 thing. Okay, I'm ready to climb, right? And this climb is your win condition. All right, 28-13 falls over. Sag. Yeah. At 30 seconds, I think if you're not confident and you're across the field, like that's going to hurt. I don't know what happens with the climber here. 33, 32, 31, 30. So the difference between why I told you to shoot early on and why I'm telling you to shoot, not to shoot here, is literally because of where you're positioned, right? In the games where you're on the Red Alliance and you had, oh, I can shoot and then climb, like you were looking at, okay, option 1, option 2, score, and then leave, right? You are on the opposite side of the field, like legally as far away as possible as you can get from that climb. At the 30-second mark, right? You don't have options next to you, or you're not prepared for the options next to you. You are considerably and arguably way out of position here. Um, it's not great, right? This is a situation that you want to avoid. Is like this is kind of the I'm caught, right? I'm stuck now, because what's going to happen, right? Well, the climber is going to come back here. You can try and stall them. You can try and hit them. Like you could do that, but it's going to waste your time. Honestly, that might have been the best thing to do here. You're probably thinking, oh, well, this area is clear. I want to get out. But 1138 probably knows that, like, okay, well, I'm going to take the 50-50 and block this team, right? So what happens if, at this point, the team's scoring? Your defender is here and already locked in, like, one-on-one combat. I'm calling them the defender because 5818 is climbing. Just smack this guy. Hit this guy, right? Just run into him. Knock his lights out. Spin him around and stall out his time. But ultimately, 8 is kind of just playing unhindered, right? Because I don't think they need the traversal. I don't think they have a traversal. Maybe they do. No, it's okay. They're not planning on doing it. Oh, why is your blue robot there? Oh, it's crazy. Red's playing a different ball game, right? They just want 8 and 54-19 to score. And ultimately, these teams do get to score. I think because their defender plays some really interesting defense on your defender. Because I don't see 58-18 doing a whole lot here. I don't know if they were the pick. They were definitely a bold pick with the traversal climb. I think that was an excellent win condition to play for. I just think as a defender, they weren't doing a whole lot, right? But like ultimately, these guys don't have to do anything. They're not worried. They're just shooting. That's where you want to be. Is this? Oh, okay. I get the ball. So okay, let's look at the next match. I think you win this one. Nearly perfect auto. All right, freeze frame right now. Your cycle, your easiest cycle is either going to be grabbing these two things right here if you want to mess up someone's day, or grabbing these two things right here. Caleb, you should already see this. You should already be telling your driver where to go. I want to see you follow one of these two paths. Okay, a little overcorrection. Fine, perfect. First path done. Look how fast that was. What did you take off? Bell hits 214. Great. 212, 211, 210. You have both balls. 204. You're already moving for the next cycle and you scored both balls. That you can't see it. I'm giving you like the chef's kiss through the screen, just the magnificent. That is what you were playing for, right? You see it, you go it, and you do it. This is a little bit more tricky, right? Because the balls are in a little bit of a weird spot, but you're doing the same thing, right? Grab one, great. Grab two, I'm hoping, great. Right? Intake a little bit problematic, fine. Just make sure the approach here is better. Approach here was better. Go score. I'm surprised that you make those. Fine. Okay, good. You're like, I don't want to be here no more. I'm gonna go across the field. Good call. Good call, and you're getting in the way of the other scorer. 1, 2, bam, done. Look how much time has passed, right? About 30 seconds have passed, and you've gotten 3 cycles in. You are getting those 15-second cycles. That is pretty good, right? This is the confidence that you need to see, right? Next cycle. I don't know if maybe Caleb sees it. 2 balls right here. Grab them. Kind of a weird maneuver. I think you got him. Getting into the shot. Score him. Cool. Yeah, if you want to avoid the chaos and you want to see it better, you could have gone right there. That's fine. Like, look how much more confident you are here. Look how confident you are here. Like, everything's working. You see the next path. You're doing it. Like, this is the I see I see exactly where I need to be at any given time, and my opponents are moving in slow motion. Like, this is like the Matrix bullet dodge. I know exactly what's coming next. I'm gonna go for it, right? If you are able to see this, if you know 58-18, like they don't care about these balls. They're not gonna get them. You might not be able to see them, but you might be able to see this one right here. This one right here. Run this path. Go. Right? Okay. 58-18 kind of knocks things away. Whatever. This is that moment where you're starting to like run out of options because you can't see things, right? Or you don't have the communication from like a human player in the corner. Actually, I don't know why they only have one human player over. Where's the red guy? Right? You're starting to lose track of where the balls are. And ultimately you've done like really well so far. But there are options here, right? Like this is all open, and I think there's 4 balls right here. Right? And now you're getting yourself involved back in the chaos. Now you're coming back and you're kind of regressing, right? Because you can't see these things. You're regressing back to look, dude. All 6 robots are on this side of the field. It's looking like an FTC sized event. That's how many robots are in like such a small space, right? And this cycle is taking significantly slower because you're not aware, because either you're not communicating with other drivers or you're not communicating with your human player, right? All right, you see the ball in front of you, good, right? And now you're back on that hunt, right? The hunt sucks. It's the worst part of this game. But you get the ball that you probably saw earlier, right? Why didn't you grab that before? You know, like that ball's been there. Let's see, at what point? Okay, maybe you couldn't see it at this point. That's fair, right? You couldn't see it as it was rolling that way. That's totally fair, right? But as soon as you see it curve, I'm assuming you know, like, okay, that's an option. The other part is, right, like, if you are looking at the field, Caleb, and you see, okay, like, let's assume this is the half of the field. You see one ball here, maybe you see that ball there, and you see, like, there's one over here. You know that the other balls have to be in the place that you can't see, right? Like, because of what you don't see, you know that somewhere else as well. You should know, like, I got to be across the field. And if you got a driver cam, it's like, great. Turn wide, see if you can scan through the robot and, like, find the ball. I'm assuming you have a camera on your robot besides, like, the limelight. All right, so grab the ball. Okay, you get the ball. Run it back. You see the ball drop in front of you, you know that's probably your next one, right? Okay, you hit it. 45-second mark, you don't want to give up the win condition. Sure, fine. I respect it. After the last match, I respect that, right? You could maybe get another cycle in here because the options have opened up a lot earlier, right? Again, what were we talking about? Option one, option two, bang, bang, 5 seconds at most. 58-18 does the 58-18 thing. Climb works, 20 seconds. You got 10 points instead of 6, right? I can see you like hyping your guys up. You're like, go, go, go. You gotta reset the hook. Get the swing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Probably good that you allotted this time at this point. Right here, it just no longer matters at the 3 second mark. So, yeah, either you were hitting that, you weren't. That's okay. I want to see what the margin is of you winning. Yeah, it's 1 point, right? Like this is close. This is sweaty levels of close. And really, it only happens because you are hitting the pace. Like that first minute was so strong. If that first minute had been any weaker, you wouldn't have won this. If you didn't get that climb in the time that you did, you wouldn't have won. Well, honestly, admittedly, if you had hit that 2 ball cycle, got them both in, and gotten the mid bar climb, you still would have won by the same margin, right? It would have been 4 and 6 instead of 10 and or 4 cargo, 6 climb points instead of 0 cargo, 10 climb points. Like it would have made the same thing if you didn't hit the climb. But like you being on fire that first minute mattered so much here to the point where you win by 1 point and you almost pull off a 7 versus 2 upset. Hugely critical. We'll look at the last match that you sent me. And then I think this recording will probably get to like the hour mark. So this is gonna be like a grab your popcorn kind of recording. I'll let you know that when I send it to you.
Get these robots off the launch pad. Drivers behind the lines. 3, 2, 1, go.
This match I'm gonna be a little angry because I think that you should have won off of a card.
Alliance number 7 and Alliance number 2.
All right, auto looking good. All right, you know exactly the drill, right? Bang, get them. They're right next to each other. You don't have to work for anything. Okay, well, the approach made you kind of have to work for it. I think you're holding 3 there. Oh, no, you pushed one back in. Okay. Yeah, no, at that point, like, if, so this is like, I think the nerves of the finals 3 coming in. But like, these two right here are in a straight line. You have to work less hard than a Harvard kid, right? Like, you are set for life off of this. And the approach is just rushed. Oh, like it's so close, and I don't think that like this is by any means what costs you, but it's like, oh, that was free, right? You could have taken a little bit of time with that one and just knowing all that was free, right? And this is where that approach matters. We talked about this with the practice day VOD review. It's like that little wiggle kind of screwed you up here, right? It knocks the ball away. And this is where, okay, again, we're starting to regress into the old patterns of, oh, I'm not confident that I'm going where I want to be going, right? And you knock it in. And at least the human player knows how to jump into action. Does the right thing. And you grab the two balls. You recover quite nicely off of this. Because still, 15-second cycles and all, you're trying to score at this point, right? Although you lose control of them because somebody's harassing you. And you getting out of the way is a little bit rough. Yeah, 1138 is just hounding you, but the good news is that they can't stop both you and 1138. Honestly, I think the goal when you see that you're being hounded this much, right, is you guys need to keep there's so much power in distance, right? At this point, 1138 can kind of whack one of you, whack two of you. If you're trying to make sure you take this area, 1138 make sure that they take this area. Make it as hard as possible for both of you to be stopped. And they definitely think you're the threat here. You being out of the way, make sure that your partners can score. As soon as you move back here, 1138, they go to hit them, right? They go for the next target. I'm gonna wind this back so you can see exactly what happens, right? This is ideal because they can just hit three people and throw them off, just clipping them. Makes so much of a difference, right? And they got that swerve drive. All right, look where you are right now. You're against the wall here. 1138 has a free chance to score. They can go in now, right? Okay, they're gonna set it up, and then you run back, right? You close that distance between you and your partner. And as soon as you do that, the distance has been closed in terms of the targets, right? Watch how 1138 runs. They're going to drive. They see that you're trying to run away from them. They're going to hit the guy that's about to score, and then they're going to go hound you. And they lose no time doing so because you're still trying to set yourself up, right? Like if they wanted to hit that guy, they totally could have. And then they backed off. Again, right? Like here they actually do it. You run back to your teammate. You're like, please help me. Like, please help me. And in the process, he gets hit. If this had happened sooner, he misses that shot, right? So remember that there's power in distance between your teammates because in this game, you're hitting whoever you can get your hands on, right? It's why 5818 is in a pretty decent position, all things considered. Or more specifically, 8 and 5419 are in a terrible position right now because it's just a domino effect, right? He hits them like billiard balls. He can hit one, he can hit two. He should have followed through on that push, right? And 5818 is prioritizing the wrong target here, but the same thing exists, right? He's just going for the wrong guy at the wrong time, but he could be doing the same thing. I'm saying he in a generally gender neutral sense. This bot, this thing, this behemoth could be slapping both of these robots around, right? I think 5419 and 8 are in terrible positions, and they're getting away with murder here. This is the part that I'm not fond of because it backfires on 8, but also I think, and I'm going to show you exactly why they should have been carded. I'm going to play this in slow mo for you, right? 8 gets in a position where they tip on their own volition, sure, and they kind of run into another guy. They are correcting here. You can see them like frame by frame. I'm going to go back a few frames. I'm going to play this frame by frame. They tip, but their COG is still good. They're recovering. They are recovering. They are recovering. You can see them actively on the way down. And Team 8 and another robot push themselves into them, right? 5018, you could see them coming down. And I don't know why it must be like Streamline or something. They're getting propped up on someone. And then both these robots drive through into them, right? 8 drives right back into them and hits them. Because you can see 5818 turn as 5818 turn, or as Team 8 turns. Like 8 has them and then spins them, right, underneath. And if you're human players here in the back corner, like a human player, get off Twitter. Like I'm not saying you are, but generally, As soon as you see this, as soon as the match is over, you need to run to the ref box, right? Whoever is seeing this encounter needs to run to the ref box. I get that's hard because it's an unprotected area, but this dude's looking right at it. This dude's looking right at it, and none of these guys call it. And this is why I hated the refs at Ventura. Like, yeah, exactly. Half speed scream of agony.
Over it goes.
And nobody calls this, right? They just look at it and they're like, yep, too heavy. Nobody sees this interaction, right? This was a terrible call by the referees. But at this point, with the balls where they are, right, and your teammate down, admittedly blocking an okay area, you just got to go for the safe options, right? You got to go for what's going to be fast as possible. And you are getting stalled out in this area. Like, you're getting in a choke point between your teammate who's down and these two robots, and they're just harassing you. They're harassing you as they play. You are either playing or getting harassed.
Here we go. Eagle Engineering still working on Eagle Robotics, trying to prevent the shots being taken, but Eagle Robotics gets one off. Doesn't make it in. Eagle Robotics.
At this point, honestly, the goal for 1138, who's not going to climb, needs to be deny as much points as possible to climb and not get fouled doing so. This person, I think, needs to work to hound 5419, even if it means you take hits. Because if 5419 gets that traversal climb, you definitely lose.
Making their way around, trying to get around to Eagle Engineering. They take their shot.
Right? They can score. There's a good amount of options for them to score.
40 seconds.
They're all in an area, again, what can't you see, right? You can't see a single ball on this side of the field. You know that they have to be around here, right? And, 5818 might have a camera that says, hey, there's, 3 right here. But sometimes you have to make that guess.
Berkelium decides to
Good
head
shots.
looking at the cargo, thinks they have enough.
Yeah, just going for the climb at this point, considering it failed last time, sure.
Here in the hangar, already on the mid. Blue is already on the mid, going to the high. It looks like
Yeah,
red is
nothing you could have done once 5818 was over, really.
clear
But,
way
like,
out. Here heads
there's a lot of different play that's set up that wasn't
with 10
ideal.
seconds left to go.
I still blame the refs for this one.
7 seconds. 5,
So
4.
ultimately, from Ventura, what are the takeaways, right? I'm not gonna let this match finish. As far as I'm concerned, you won off of a red card. Don't need to see anymore. Cut the tape. 28-13 had a great run until they ran to high tide in the finals, right? Wonderful run. I don't want to see it anymore. Let me live my fantasy. Um, what are the takeaways, right? So the confidence is definitely going up, right? Confidence is stonks, right? You got your little dips there, but the confidence is on the way up. Good, great. You have an event under your belt. That's more than most teams at Monterey, right? The confidence is going way up. Keep it at, start at this level, right? Start at where you were in that second finals or second quarterfinals match. That was huge. Um, your planning, right? I think you, Caleb, and your driver are on the same page, right? You both know, um, generally speaking, with a few edge cases, what the optimal ball path is, right? For a lot of those later matches, you saw what was closest. You knew that was the option. You went for it, right? You were on, pun not intended, you were on the ball there, right? Very good aggressive style. The weakest points, right? I'm gonna give this like a check mark here. The weakest points are the points that need improvement. Is options, right? So you are looking at this from a there's only balls on the field, um, or there's not, right? There's the ball that I can see, and if I don't see it, I can't do anything. I don't know. Wait for the next ball to fall out, right? What can you be doing to optimize your time, right? So, um, I'm gonna shorthand this because I'm writing with a mouse. Um, right, this is a game of seconds, right? The the team that uses their time most optimally is going to be the one that wins here. What can you be doing with that spare bits of time where you're not sure, like, okay, well, how do I get in here? How do I do this? Um, Figure out what you can do with your time. Do I hit someone? Do I just shoulder check someone as I wait for a ball to come out? Because I can, right? Everyone needs to be playing defense in this game. I really do believe that. You're gonna have to hit someone at some point. So do I wait for the if I'm waiting, right? For the ball to trickle out of I'm gonna use the blue pen here. If I need the ball to fall out of here and I'm just waiting, this guy's lined up to shoot, I want to hit him. I have nothing to do in the 3 seconds while this ball resets. I'm gonna hit this dude and make sure that they don't get those points, right? And really thinking aggressively about how to min max your time. You've gotten so much better at seeing 10 seconds ahead when it comes to where is the ball and where do I need to go next. But as soon as the obvious answers are gone, you're not thinking about what needs to happen. And this is where I think, all in all, the point that you can push yourself on is the greater context, right? What are my opponents doing? Really seeing what the opponents are doing is going to push you and knowing, okay, I can hit this guy, or they've got the ball, I can't do anything about this, or knowing from what the scouts have told me, this is their win condition and we're at this time, I need someone to block them off. Um, I didn't see a lot of looking at your opponents. Admittedly, you were in a very high level scoring position, so there's only so much that you would have been able to do. But I still think it would have benefit you to look at their opponents a little bit more. And then in some way, you need to look at what's not there, right? So I'm going to put this as fill it in. I think making those decisions, those snap judgments faster about, well, there's not a single ball that I can see on my side of the field. They all have to be somewhere else. Because I guarantee you, the 11 balls are going to all be on the field at the same time, with the edge case of, oh, a ball bounced out. It's out for 3 seconds. But unless it's in the hub, and unless it's been scored out of bounds, it's on the field. Either it's in a robot, right, which they can only do so much for, um, or it's on the ground, or it's in a hanger, or it's behind the fender, right? And just being on the ball with, okay, I don't see it here. I've checked, right? Moving around and filling in that context is going to be the next critical step, right? Like, I'm going to check in on you at Monterey Bay, and you need to be hitting 10,000 steps by your third quarter or quals match. Like, you got to be running back and forth, get that mile in every qualifying match. You're running a 2 minute mile between the driver stations, get that information in and make sure that you can communicate to your team, because the driver clearly is on the same page as you when it comes to getting the ball. I don't know if that's because of micromanagement or because you have set them up for success well enough where the driver can see, oh, okay, great, the two balls are here. I'm going to go for those, Caleb. And you can leave it in her hands and be like, great, I'm going to see where the next ones are. And you trust that your driver does that, loops around, gets back in 10 seconds, and doesn't need you to plan out every little move like it's chess, right? Let the driver do the driver thing. You give your drive team the context that they need, right? So work on filling that in. So that has been my long review of about half your matches at this event. Hopefully, these come into play a little bit more helpful for Monterey Bay. I mean, end of the day, I want to see you guys get top four, right? And at Ventura, your top seven. Monterey is going to be, I think, maybe not as strong of an event. Maybe it'll look a little bit similar to this, but I think where you guys are at is a really good position right now. Just keep it up, right? Keep it up and keep pushing yourselves to think a little bit harder about what needs to happen. So let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any judgment calls that I got like really way off base or just was not understanding or didn't have the full context for, because I think I saw most of it or heard most of it from Caleb. But yeah, let's kick some ass in Monterey.